new era or sink it into another storm of controversy. The polls are tightening, tensions are rising, and whispers of an election scandal are starting to echo through campaign headquarters. In a city of skyscrapers and sleepless ambition, one race is testing not just the candidates, but the very heart of democracy. Welcome to the final stretch of New York's most unpredictable election. And if you're just joining us, make sure to hit subscribe, because this story is only getting started. The candidate stands on a makeshift stage in front of a restless crowd. Reporters shout questions, cameras flash, and the air feels thick with expectation. When asked how he plans to close the deal with voters, he smiles, not the polished grin of a politician, but the weary, sincere look of someone who's walked every block of the city he wants to lead. His answer isn't about ads or speeches or TV appearances. It's about people. 90,000 volunteers, he says. 90,000 New Yorkers calling strangers, knocking on doors, talking about the city they love. It's not glamorous work. It's not even comfortable work. But it's the backbone of democracy. He says politics isn't something you have. It's something you do. And in an age of cynicism and division, that line hits differently. Because for every angry tweet, there's someone out there still knocking on a door hoping to be heard. Of course, that's the story the campaign wants you to see. But behind the optimism, the whispers have begun. Anonymous tips, deleted texts, and late-night meetings that don't appear on the schedule. The opposition is calling it the 911 moment, the time when a campaign, once calm and confident, starts making emergency calls to save itself. And in the city that invented political theater, that kind of drama always finds a stage. 8 days left, and the spotlight burns hotter than ever. The candidate laughs off the rumors in public, even jokes that the emergency sirens in the background are just a closing argument. But behind the curtain, the tone is different. Campaign staff are pulling double shifts. Pollsters are nervous. And one story threatens to derail it all. A leaked memo suggesting backroom promises tied to city contracts. The campaign denies it, of course, calling it a fabrication designed to distract from real issues. Still, the story spreads like wildfire across the city's tabloids. Meanwhile, the candidate keeps walking, literally walking, from the top of Manhattan to the bottom, meeting people face to face, shaking hands, and hearing everything the consultants try to avoid. In New York, support doesn't always sound polite. "I'm voting for you," someone shouts from a car window. It sounds more like a threat than encouragement. But that's New York. They'll love you until the second they don't, and they'll let you know when that happens. The crowds may be unpredictable, but the mission stays the same. Freeze the rent, make buses faster, deliver universal childcare. These aren't just talking points. They're promises. Promises that have made him a hero to some and a target to others. Because in politics, every commitment comes with a cost. And as Election Day nears, those costs are starting to add up. He calls it an opportunity to prove that politics can still be about people, not power. To show that livability isn't a luxury, but a right. He talks about safety. Not just safety from crime, but safety from poverty, from eviction, from hopelessness. And that's where his message connects. Public safety as the foundation of affordability. People can't thrive in fear. They can't dream when they're one paycheck away from losing their home. But even as he rides the subway with reporters, pointing out the homeless man sleeping in the corner, critics ask, are these just words? Because right now, there are more vacant housing units than people without homes. It's not just a problem of compassion, it's a failure of efficiency. A city where bureaucracy moves slower than empathy. Where the government pays consultants to design new trash cans while families sleep in shelters. And that contrast, that quiet absurdity, is what fuels his campaign. Still, the scandal lingers. A former campaign aide comes forward with emails suggesting unreported coordination between a nonprofit group and campaign staff. The press smells blood. The candidate calls it an orchestrated smear, insisting that every rule was followed. But the timing couldn't be worse. With just days left, every headline counts, every rumor matters, every whisper can echo like thunder. He keeps campaigning anyway, insisting that the movement isn't about him, it's about the people. About the 90,000 volunteers who believed enough to pick up the phone and knock on doors. And if you're one of them, he says, keep going. Keep calling. Keep believing. Because change, like democracy, is messy, noisy, and often thankless. But it's worth it. He tells a story about a trash can. In New York City, when one overflows, The government's solution isn't to collect the trash more often, it's to remove the trash can. That, he says, is the perfect metaphor for what's broken. A system that hides its failures instead of fixing them. It's not about money. It's about will. And if you've ever lived here, you know exactly what he means. The debate over quality of life becomes central. Some critics dismiss it as a conservative talking point, but he argues it should be the heart of progressive politics. What good is progress if people can't afford to live in the city they helped build? If they can't walk the streets without fear or raise their children without drowning in rent? He says every worker deserves the same security and dignity as those living on Fifth Avenue. And in that line, you can hear the echoes of something bigger than a campaign, but elections aren't decided by ideals alone. They're decided by reality, and reality in politics is brutal. The establishment isn't exactly rushing to his side. Endorsements are trickling in late, cautious, often politically calculated. Even party leaders seem hesitant to fully embrace his energy. The old guard still fears what they can't control. And while he laughs off the politics of endorsement, everyone knows they still matter. Then comes the moment that shifts everything. A late-night exposé drops online, claiming a donor connected to a controversial development project helped fund an independent group supporting his campaign. The opposition calls it proof of hypocrisy. His team calls it a desperate smear. And voters? They're caught in the middle, unsure what to believe. In a city built on secrets and ambition, truth becomes just another campaign slogan. Still, he pushes forward. Young voters flood the streets, canvassing with an energy that surprises even longtime political watchers. They're not just voting, they're believing. They're showing up because, for once, someone's talking to them like adults, not props in a photo op. The campaign slogan may be about freezing rent, but what it's really selling is hope. The kind that's been missing for years. He quotes Ed Koch. "If you agree with me on 9 out of 12 issues, vote for me. If you agree on 12 out of 12, see a psychiatrist." It gets a laugh, but there's truth in it. Politics isn't about perfection, it's about participation. It's about showing up, even when the system seems designed to push you away. And so the story keeps moving. Late-night shows talk about him. Radio hosts debate whether he's too idealistic or just what the city needs. Opponents double down on attack ads, warning that his plans will bankrupt the city. Supporters counter that it's already bankrupt, morally, if not financially. The scandal simmers but doesn't explode. It lingers like a rumor everyone believes, but no one can prove. He insists that leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's about surrounding yourself with people who do. Experience matters, but so does imagination. And imagination, he says, is what New York is built on. He jokes about building islands out of nothing, connecting Manhattan to the Statue of Liberty with skyscrapers. But the metaphor isn't lost on anyone. The city doesn't need more land, he says. It needs more vision. As the final week unfolds, the narrative shifts again. The election isn't just about policy anymore. It's about trust. Can a young progressive from Queens really handle the toughest city in the world? Can he survive the political machine long enough to change it? And what happens if the scandal turns out to be true? The final debate draws record numbers. He faces his opponent with a calm defiance, framing the controversy not as a liability, but as proof that the establishment fears change. The crowd roars. The city listens. And for a moment, it feels like something real is happening. Something bigger than politics. Election night approaches. The lights of Times Square burn brighter than ever. Reporters crowd outside headquarters, waiting for results. The scandal story has faded, but not disappeared. His campaign insists they'll win on people power alone. And maybe they're right. Because in a city defined by resilience, every knock on a door, every phone call, every conversation matters. When the results finally come in, it's close. Too close. The networks hesitate to call it. Ballots are still being counted. But no matter the outcome, the message is clear. Politics doesn't have to be cynical. It doesn't have to be about fear or division. It can be about possibility. So as the city waits, as the candidates pace in silence, one thing becomes undeniable. The movement has changed the conversation. Win or lose, something has shifted. And if you believe that change is worth fighting for, make sure you subscribe, because this story, this fight for the soul of a city, is far from over. Because in the end, this isn't just about one candidate.